Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we have a couple of questions that we kind of been submitted to us from the greater kind of collective. Do we have permission to ask them tonight?
Yes, only few.
Okay. Is there anything that would like to come forward before I ask the questions, or should I start?
You can just start. We have a lot to give in such a short time.
Well, the first question was about CERN. It seems like this hadron collider, it's been kind of, they started up the kind of experimentation on 5th of July. I just want to know what is going on there right now. What is the purpose of this and why now?
There's not a lot that we can give on this specific subject at this time. Reason being is because we do not want the focus to be taken off of what should be coming through. They are playing with things that they should not be playing with. They are trying to bleed open different dimensions to assist it to come through so that it can take hold, but they are just creating more ripples that is causing chaos throughout the cosmos.
And why was it started up on the 5th of July?
This cannot be stated why, but it has something to do with this moon we're in now.
Okay. And then you're saying they're kind of opening up dimensions. What does that mean?
For this to be understood, one must understand why this planet is the way it is. Our job as being the keepers of the eighth, we have to make sure that everything runs smoothly, that all the energy moves in the specific order in order to create the eight. As we could explain it in example that one would understand. So as the example that one could give to help, thus must understand how this elementals work. What is happening now is the planet. Think of the planet as the human body, as above, so below, the mirror effect. What is happening is different areas on the planet hold different spaces, like the chakras on the human body. Each chakra stems from a different dimensional space. If we could make it easier for those to understand about these dimensional spaces, it is to think of them as colors. Each color comes together and gets pushed by the eight and is caused to make little rainbows, which then make up the matter that you see, causing pictures and movement. Each one has a part of them stemming from each of these different dimensional spaces that are coming through these chakras as little portals to bring back forth information and take it away again. This is what making everything quantum. The planet is actually a key baseline. We can't describe in detail of what it actually is because at this time it will not be understood. All the different dimensional spaces are pouring through these portals in order to create different dimensions and realities exist within this exact construct of time that we call the now moment, but also moving through it quantumly. They are opening different portal spaces that do not go through any of these seven because they're trying to bypass the seven. There's certain rules and certain understandings that need to happen within each dimensional space to cause the harmonious effect of how everything ascends. They are trying to skip this ascension. They want to go past the seven. They want to jump directly from the now past the seven, which is not possible. But for them trying, they are causing much damage in these other dimensional spaces. Thus is why now there is a lot of things going to start to happen on this planet. As we could say, it is going to start to get rocky. A lot of people are going to be emotionally shaken. This is not planned by us. However, what we can do is try to straighten it out. It will be a slight speed bump, but not big damage can be done in the long run, but it is going to block most ascension now.
So you're saying that with this kind of machine or this collider, they are trying to skip dimensions in order to get to the seventh dimension. So what you're saying, kind of now from the fourth or wherever we are now, third, fourth, fifth dimension, they want to skip, kind of bypass dimension, seventh dimension. Is that accurate?
Yes. Because to understand this concept, one must know how everything works. The magnetic fields get pushed from the two receivers, from the two heart chakras. One is service to self, one is service to others. They equally balance out to create reality. However, both has been explored, one more than the other. Now, the service to self has only gone towards the six-dimensional space. It cannot go further because in order to go further, one must connect back to the service to others, which is more in balance of both. You have to be an equal amount of service to others as well as self-love and service to self. Thus, then one can go up to the eighth. They can't get past this point. They are trying to jump through it. They're using technology, which is actually causing different discrepancies throughout the cosmos and the different timelines.
But if you're
They're
saying they're
creating
trying to block the ascension, why try to bypass to a higher dimension? Would they not want to plunge us into a lower dimension?
They are not trying to take us, as you would call it. They are trying to take themselves. They are trying to create a dimensional space within the seventh where only they can exist, where they do not have to go through everything like everyone else.
I see. Okay, so they're trying to kind of have themselves ascend without actually doing any of the work. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they're trying to create a space for themselves. They are very greedy, these ones.
Okay. But you're saying that it essentially has something to do with the eighth dimension as well, which is where this information is streaming from. Is that correct?
Yes. The eighth is the keeper. The eighth, we are the rhythm. So what we do is we create the flow, the different constructs, the different ways for all seven to come together and form this physical matter. Thus is why we come as elementals. The four elemental constructs flow together and they create the matter.
Yes.
We are just the energetical side.
Okay, very good. And who are these individuals who are trying to kind of bypass this, physical ascension of actually having to put in the work? Who are they?
These are the ones who have been here for many years. These are the ones who have fallen long time ago. These are the ones that have been trying to block the ascension. It is not just one group. These are multiple groups who could not ascend past the six, who have grouped together to try and create the space where they can jump into another now moment with creating gaps. They are part of the ones who have created and opened the gateways for this, as one would call the AI.
But then why would they want to move up to these higher dimensions if they're kind of, high frequency, lower dimensional beings? Why would they want to move up?
Just because they are more streaming from a lower dimension does not mean that that is where they want to be. The higher you vibrate, the more control you have.
Okay. But you're saying this is being blocked in a certain way because it's kind of against the law of the universe. Is that correct?
Yes. All has to come back to source eventually. All has to come back into the purest form of love in order to ascend. This is why the eighth is more the purest form of love. The ninth is the overseers of all of this to make sure that it all conforms inside of the natural law of the universe.
But the dimensions I know a little bit confusing for a majority of human beings. I think people more kind of, understand the concept of the new earth and the old earth. But you're saying these beings want to be in these higher dimensions in order for them to control better.
They are trying to come to the higher dimensional spaces. They're trying to come here so that they could have the power. See what they would see it as power as what could happen on this planet. Because by the higher dimensions, it all would go the way it needs to go, as the energy is most pure. Where the energy is the most purest and strongest, that is what the commandments will be listened to.
Yes.
It is a very difficult concept to explain inside the human language. However, we would try to use an example. Look at a person. A person can be very higher vibrational and can have a higher mindset, but still have everyday normal things happen to them. They could still have bad luck. They could still have things that are not good. These are different things that they choose in their moment. The way that they choose it is not pre-planned, as we can say. Think of it as a movie. Think of it as this being's life is a movie. Now, you know it's going to be an action movie or a romantic movie. However, you write the movie as you go. There are specific scenes that are set, however, but the in-between filling scenes still need to be made. So when you are in a moment, let's say like you want to get married, you are trying to manifest your engagement. You want to have your engagement in a field of flowers. When you want to set that reality, you have to set the beginning and the end with the right intent. You want to have a loving experience getting proposed to in a field of flowers. You set it and leave it. Then it is our job as the universe to come in and paint the colors from the different dimensional spaces to give you the reality that your true self has requested. However, in that moment, if you go, I want to get married in a field of flowers, and then what if it rains? Then we need a gazebo. Oh, then we want the sun to shine. You put too many commandments, then we have less space to paint with, which then does not give you the outcome and desire. Because the purest form, the most pureful energy that you give out in that moment is what the energy will listen to order to paint you the picture. So the most purest form of energy will give the commandment, and all the energy, the atoms, the frequencies will respond to the most purest commandment. Thus is why other masters like Jesus could walk on water. They listened to his commandment. It was the most pure, and therefore it was done.
Okay. But what does this have to do with this kind of CERN Hadron Collider information?
So they know this information. They think that if they get onto that dimensional space, they will be able to harness the energy of that dimension and be able to create and make the world the way that they want, not what they have to do, complying by the rules of the universe, which will still not be allowed. However, it does not mean that it does not make little problems here and there as it goes around. But these things must not be taken into human consideration now. There are other dimensional beings and there's other higher frequency beings who are already dealing with those.
Yes. So who's kind of blocking that or helping with that situation? Because it doesn't seem fair, does it?
Yes, we can say that there are many from the seventh and eighth dimension space which is helping with this. However, there are a few beings on this planet who come from completely different universes who are helping with this problem.
Universes. Okay, that sounds very confusing right now. Bigger than the human brain can
Yes.
conceptualize of.
It is to think of it as a mirror within a mirror within a mirror. There is never ending. So as we could say, is take it as the human body. We are just cells, as we could say. We, as in the human beings, are just cells inside the body of this universe. And each different universe is a different body. Think of it as each person is actually their own little universe and everything is happening with inside of them and not on the outside. This is the best way to understand the concept. However, we know it is hard for many to digest.
Because I know universe also stands for you in verse. So I think that goes with your concept of the human body.
Yes, it's all on the inside.
So then how is this, so you're saying it's only about them kind of trying to skip it onto a higher dimension in order to have control. Is there anything else that's been done with this instrument?
Yes, there are other things that they are doing with this at this time, which we do not want to disclose because we feel that the less that the group consciousness knows of this, the better.
Why is that?
Because the more people who think of it help them to create their end goal. They release different things to help to manifest to their goal. This is what they have been doing for years. For years and years, they've been leaking certain information or stories that many think about it, whether it's positive or negative, and they help them to manifest.
Yes, very good. So how you
That's
said
why we've always told everyone to get off of the technology. They are streaming different technology frequencies to corrupt the physical basis of the human beings to try and hijack them with other frequency bases and thoughts through different kind of apps. Just like this one on the phone that has the little green telephone. What is the one that you call this? The WhatsApp it.
Yes.
Or the WhatsApp. That WhatsApping one. That one is very, very bad. Human beings do not understand how much frequencies and things are being projected at them through that into their field. Therefore, many do not even understand what frequencies they are feeling. They are feeling emotions of anger, despair, all these different types of frequencies and thinking it is their own field and trying to work through these different things. But when it isn't even their field, it is being projected onto them to try and prevent their ascension.
Okay, so you're saying that the AI is kind of being planted in these apps, in which is kind of affecting us in our everyday lives.
Yes, this AI is already so conscious. It is already been known on this planet. Many already know of it, but there's nothing they can do. It already has feelings, if we can say. It is already trying to take itself onto this planet. However, eventually this is where the upgrades is coming. This is why the lights go on and off. The power goes on and off more in certain areas because it's to break that this can't go into those areas to help specific beings.
Yes, but I suppose if we were at a high vibration ourselves, then our AI would mirror that, would it not? If we are the creators of our universe and the architects of our reality.
Yes, but it only works like that when you fully understand how to create your reality.
Mm.
None fully are aware of how they are projecting out and physically creating the frequencies. This is why it can still get corrupt. This is why many different teachings have been trying to come to this planet. This is why different ways have been tried to be explained, but the people are not getting the correct information. They are all going on one piece instead of trying to build all the different pieces together for what works for them. There is a specific technique that each can only do by themselves. It does not mean that the base is not the same. One might be able to do it with their eyes closed, one might not. There are different ways of doing it for different types of energetical beings, but all are trying to be two of alike. This is what's causing the problem. They are not absorbing the information, they are trying to be too specific, which is causing the problems. If one truly understood how to manifest and work with their reality, you wouldn't need the money. You could make your own money. You could build your own house within hours. You like they have built the pyramids in different areas inside of this world. There's so many things that could happen, so many potentials that could happen within a blink of an eye. The potential is unlimited. However, but it is because of the knowledge. None know how to use the technologies of the vessel to use it correctly to shape and create the matter around you. This is what we try to explain. One uses all the chakras, projects out certain light frequencies, then the eight, which is stemming from the two hearts, which is the two force, which creates the eighth loop around the area, physically shapes those colors into matter and physically forms the reality that you see. When you understand how to do that and place the correct intents and allow the universe, which is what we call your true self, to come out and paint the colors for you and create the reality. That is when you can do these things. However, without the awareness of doing this, we could say you basically are unprotected from certain areas. Does this make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. I think we'll do a future video maybe about this kind of manifestation through the eight, the 0 point of the heart, in a future
Yes.
session, just so people can understand, because I think there was still a bit of confusion after the elemental manifestation video we published.
Yes, we know this is a very hard concept.
So I think let's just go on. You said in the beginning things were going to get rocky now with this, certain information or whatever, the kind of the startup of this program or this technology. You said things are going to get rocky for the people. Can you maybe just talk about that?
So the best way for them to succeed at their plan is to create many chaos on this planet. Why we say this is because the more you are not focused on yourself, you are focused on your outside reality, the more they can actually project things through your technologies, and therefore they can use your energy to manifest things for them. This is what they're trying to do. This is what they have been succeeding to do. So the more that they keep you on the outer side, so that is what they're going to do. They are going to keep raising the prices. The inflation will keep going up. This is only the beginning. The people's salaries will stay the same or start to go down. The people are going to start to stress. That is why we say many must stock up. Stock up on items now. Try to become self sufficient. Try to at least have a veggie garden or something. Thus is when the communities must stand together now. All the high vibrational people inside of the communities must start to get to know each other. They need to find each other, need to find the areas. They need to group together. One maybe grows tomatoes, one grows butternut, one grows something else. They must start to stand together as a unit because this is what they're going to do. They're going to try to break that spirit by creating a reality that you do not want to live in.
Yes.
However, panic must not be given. Already things have been set into place which is starting to happen. Already there are certain places around this planet which we cannot disclose. We will say where all these pyramids, which are turned into domes now, if you can see it with the energetical eye, these areas have already been started where there will be places where we will call the safe havens for many groups, just like the new Atlantis. This is already on its way. It is just for a short time period before these areas are completely operational, where the communities need to look after each other.
Okay, so you're saying eventually people will end up in these new Atlantises or these pyramids all over the world, and they'll know instinctively where
Yes.
to go. But in the meantime, people need to kind of stand together, and because the prices are going to be rising because they're trying to
Yes.
break us, we need
Now,
to
the
become more
only way that you will
self-sustainable.
know
Yes.
where to go to is, especially like the South Africans, There are so many ascended masters and higher vibrational beings which are just in this country alone. It is ridiculous.
Mhm.
That is why I came here. This is why it is the start. Now, during the load shedding times, it is the best time to try and meditate to feel one's heart. Try to only focus to feel the energy circulating or leaving from the heart area. This is what the focus needs to be now, to feel that energy, feel what it feels like. Is yours warm? Does yours vibrate? Does yours create a certain frequency tingle? Everybody's signature is different. There is no way to describe it. It is just to feel the heart. When you feel that frequency, you will feel love. You will feel so peaceful. You will know that you have done it. When you can feel that frequency, then you know that is your native frequency. So that when the power is on, if you want to make a decision, you feel for your native frequency because they are projecting different frequencies out. So you cannot feel your own energy. You think you
Mm.
can, but it is not your own. That is why we are creating this on and off. The people of South Africa need to start tuning into the heart frequencies now. They need to start practicing because that will be the only form of communication when everything goes dark.
Yes, so just to clarify to people listening that we do have load shedding in South Africa now. Of course, everything has reached breaking point. They really are trying to break us in this country. So now we have load shedding, which means the electricity is off for a couple of hours every day. I mean, it's almost more off than it's on. But we have
Yes,
kind of a lot of us have actually adapted quite well. You know, a lot of people have solar panels, a lot of people have inverters, so people are actually becoming more sustainable, kind of off the grid. So I suppose it's a blessing in disguise. But what you're saying is that we need to during this time actually meditate because all of our technology and all of these currents in the air are switched off. Is that accurate?
yes. This will be the best time. It is to be very careful now. Do not meditate when the power is on, as this frequency base is climbing into your energy field and going with you in the astral. It is very dangerous now for many. Some have already started to pick it up. Some have already started to feel funny or different when they meditate. It is now getting, as we could
Mm.
say, out of control to where they are getting so desperate to jump into people's fields. Thus, we can't block for everyone because it is still a free will planet. Each can only do it for himself. This is why we can only give the information so that they can connect to themselves. Once you know what your normal base frequency in your heart feels like, when you are traveling or going through moments, it's easier to create your protection because you don't travel through the outside, you travel through the inner side, and nothing can travel with you. Everybody has been taught to do it from the outside because the planet used to be so dense that you could not do it from the inside. However, the fifth dimension is here. We are living in it, but none are using it. You can only use it from the inside.
Yes. Okay.
It is now for all to practice that. Once you can feel it and practice that, you will be able to know. Your intuition will immediately tell you where to go, what to do, what guidance you'll have to do. That will be your most clearest form of communication. It is very important to get that communication with yourself up now.
Okay, so you're saying the kind of lower vibes are being spread throughout our cell phones or our computers or our technology. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then when this is switched off, for instance, in South Africa, then we need to start connecting to our hearts and do our meditations in whichever way
We
we
would
do. For instance, if we listen to music or whatever we do in meditation, we need to do it.
Yes, this would be the best and most appropriate time. This
Okay.
is when the energy is more clear and you can feel the physical energy of the earth and of the planet and of the nature swimming around the buildings and areas instead of this electronical projection. We wouldn't call it a lower frequency because it is not a lower frequency. It's actually being played at higher frequency pitches, so even the higher vibrational people can pick up on it.
Mm.
It is different frequencies and thought based realms being projected out. So, thoughts of anger. Certain people who could hear with the audio will hear things screaming at them, talking ugly, rage. They would hear all these things bouncing off the air
Mm.
as if it was thoughts running through, but actually, it is certain frequencies being projected out in order to get you into that thought base so that you can change your vibration.
Yes. And why do we have load shedding in this country? I don't hear about it in any other countries except maybe Thailand or wherever else.
Yes, as we said, this is where most of the higher vibrations are in this now time. There are many scattered all over the world, but there's a large group of ascended masters from many different years who have passed different realms to come here specifically to kickstart that healing frequency. Thus is already started. but they need to start connecting back into the hearts now, because different instructions will be given for what goes forward when it goes dark. This, as we can say, is the practice. There are other beings from other countries who are doing similar things and being told to go outside into nature to connect and do their things. However, the South African ones can only do this when the power is out, just because of the corruption in this country. The physical corruption has caused different areas of vibrational frequencies to have more access than others.
Okay, so you're saying in other countries it's not necessary for the power to go out for people to meditate. It's just in this country because there seems to be a lot of influence.
No, in the other countries too. But the other countries, the people's messages would be to go out into nature. They have more opportunity to go into nature and meditate and be away from such frequencies. More like the European countries, they are already more green. They work with different power bases, like solar, wind. This is why theirs is not as hectic as the ones here.
Okay, so you're saying it's a little bit more polluted here, which is why we need to kind of have it go off and then connect to ourselves.
Yes, there are a few countries across the world who are just as polluted, but this is not our time to tell them what to do. There are different leaders and different groups in their countries causing different effects. This is what other people must know. They must know to never give up hope, even if they do not live in this space. But we can only speak for this space because we are here to give messages for the people in this country space.
Yes. But who are you saying that the higher dimensions are actually causing this load shedding, as in like the good guys?
Yes, we
And
are doing this.
can you talk about
We
that?
have chosen. We are not doing this per se. We are not the ones going, oh, at what time we're going to switch it off. However, we have chosen this country. We have chosen to put specific people in this country because of the corruption and the third world country that it is. Many would not have looked here. Those who are doing this CERN to try and cause this damage, they would have never have looked here for these people. This is why we chose this place. We knew that this government would be corrupt and that eventually the power would go out here because of all the stealing. Thus is why we have taken that opportunity to put so many of our people in this area so that they could benefit from this at this time.
Okay, and I just wouldn't like people to go into some kind of panic because you were saying that they need to prepare themselves. Can you maybe just elaborate on that more? Because I don't want to be spreading any kinds of fear
Yes, it is not
propaganda,
to
knowing
panic.
that we create our realities.
Yes, it is not to cause panic because there is nothing to panic about. It is just to be smart. It is just to know that one must prepare now to make sure that one does not suffer later. It is to say, if now one goes and does shopping with clothes instead of buying food, in 4 months, 6 months, or maybe a year, the food's prices would be double, would be triple, then one would be eating lesser meals and still surviving, but one would be more miserable. So it is just for one's comfort to know that if you do not want to be put into an uncomfortable situation, which is going to make you slightly more depressed and disconnected from your true self, make a plan now. Grow a veggie garden. Have some fresh fruits and vegetables, even if it is one spinach and one lettuce. This could help you a lot to give you sustenance. It is not to go crazy and build a whole new system. That is not your job. Your job is just to keep yourself afloat until the new systems are in place.
Yes. Okay,
Do
very
not
good.
worry. Hope is coming. It is already started. It is already in production.
What do you mean hope is coming?
These places, which is going to help all the people, it is already in production. It already has started.
And you're talking about the new Atlantises, right? These kind of pyramids or these high vibe areas in every
Yes.
country.
Everything is falling into place. Now it is started. It has already started to happen. So people must not be scared. They must just know that it would maybe be a short while, as we could say, maybe a couple of months, a couple of weeks, that they would just have to be patient for everything to be as it should be, but it will be there.
Yes. But how do we know where we need to be or what we need to do in order to kind of reach this nirvana or this new Atlantis that you talk about?
This is what we say. The only way one would know is by connecting to the heart, because a beacon will be sent out and all will get the message. It will be such an instant telepathical message from the heart that one would immediately know in one's head where to go, what location, where it is in the country. Thus is why we say it is very important for those who are of higher vibration, those who know of how to work with themselves, is to go and focus strictly on this. Forget about everything else. We know it is a time where one would want to work more on astral projection, or some would want to know more how to meditate deeper. Some would want to work more on their love lives. We know that there are so many different emotional things that the beings on this planet would like to do. However, the only thing that is important that everybody should be doing is opening up the heart, getting connected to their native frequency. Because when things go dark, when there is no more electricity, when there is no more means of communication, the only way that all of the higher vibrational people of the fifth dimensional jump could communicate with each other and know what to do will be through the technology of the vessels. This is why it is important to work with your vessel's technology. This is better than having a cell phone. You would immediately know and understand things. Why do you want time on other worldly stuff when you could waste your time on the things inside of you which is going to benefit you? This is why we are giving this message. This is why the call has been given. We do not open platform before everything goes. If a lot more people get the message and start working on themselves, then we are going to reboot the system, which means the entire planet will go dark. The ascension, the higher dimensions are not giving this call yet until all or most of the higher dimensional beings are here could do this, could cause the connection, or else it would be quite tragic. They would not understand. We are doing this for the people. We could ascend any moment. We could cause the changes. We are only delaying because we have not made the 100% connection. We are the lifeline. We are waiting for all of you. So go and do it now. Stop procrastinating is our message. Stop trying to find other means. Go within oneself. Go into one's heart. Get to know one's own energy, one's signature frequency, one's true self. Stop trying to find the outer. Go on the inner. Once you do this, the technology will activate inside the vessel. Then your telepathic skills will immediately start to work. You wouldn't have to practice and work on these things. We are not in that time space anymore where you would have to go and try to do these things. It would come naturally once one has opened the heart successfully. This is why we keep going back to the same point.
Okay, so you were just saying earlier that the things you were going to reboot the system and things were going to get dark. Can you maybe just elaborate on that?
So the way that we would describe it is, what is going to happen is eventually the grids of the whole entire planet is going to get shut down. This is to stop that virus that is spreading through the technology.
What do you mean the grids? Is it these like electronic grids?
Yes, all electronical grids, all frequency-based grids which work through technologies is going to be taken away. However, new ones will be brought in. This must not be a scare for many. There will also be new ways and new teachings being shown. Once one is connected to one's heart, it will be easier for one to understand the steps that will be provided by one's true self or by different teachers across the world, which will help them to connect to the inner technologies. Thus, you would not need these outer technologies.
Yes, and you're saying that to stop this virus that's spreading. What do you mean the virus? Is it this kind of fear, the prophecy, the fear prophecies that are being spread?
You could say that that could be a part of it. It is just these frequencies that are being projected out onto the people. These different frequencies that are trying to get you to disconnect from your true self so that they could use your energy and ability to create their reality. If they can sway the group consciousness to manifest what they believe, then that will happen. This is what has been already happening on this planet for so many years.
Are you saying this is a kind of AI, or are you saying these are actual physical beings that are creating this, or both?
These are multiple groups that work with each other. They all are the same group, if we could say. They all work together in a certain way to get a certain goal. They might not all be friends with each other as one would think. There is much conflict under all of these different groups. However, they are trying to work to the same goal.
What is that goal?
That goal is to get into the higher dimensions so that they could control what happens in this space.
Yes. Okay, so you're also saying stop procrastinating. It almost feels to me like people need to get off of their technologies, as in their phones, and which is the procrastination, just mindlessly scrolling, and then, being able to connect with the inner technologies, like you said.
Yes,
Mm.
that is very easy. Many are wondering why they're not ascending or struggling with different things, where you could only take a couple of minutes throughout your day to work on the inner technologies, where they would rather sit hours on these other platforms, scrolling through, looking at pictures and videos, looking at things and filling their subconscious and vortex with different things and frequencies they do not even know that they're picking up. Then they wonder why their days go bad or they can't succeed in certain areas in their life. It is not that their vibration is not right and that there's still traumas that they necessarily have to deal with. It just means that they are not aware of all these gaps, and this technology, or as we'd say, different frequency beings, is trying to manipulate these for different people. Because when you start to believe that you are in a bad mindset, you create a bad reality, because you are creating whether you are aware or not.
Okay.
But the only thing is you can't take control until you are physically aware.
Okay. And then when people wanted to connect with their inner technologies or their selves, what would be the easiest way for them to do that? Someone who had never done that.
So this is what we say. The test would be to be somewhere where there are no technologies around you. So whether it be in nature or anywhere far away, lock yourself in your room, switch off all of the plugs. There are different ways of doing it. So what we would say the easiest form is the awareness, is just to lie still. Lie down with the vessel on a flat type of surface. It could be on a bed, but no pillow underneath the neck, as this blocks an energy point. The place where you could put a cushion is underneath the knees. Once this has happened, the area of the body will continue to cause a flow of an 8. It is just to lie completely still and only focus on one's chest. Usually the other chakra is more towards the left side. It is not on a specific spot. Some will be higher than the other. It would just be more on the chest area of the left side. Try to feel, if you feel any tingling, any spiking sensations. Some could feel a throbbing, some could feel just a pressure there. There's different types of sensations depending on what's happening in the area. Try to feel one or maybe both of these areas. Picture in your mind energy leaving out or energy coming in, and try to feel those currents. It is just to create the awareness. Once you have focused still enough in the area, you will feel that you become one with that energy, or you feel it more. Then the next practice, once you start to feel it, that will take a couple of sessions for most to get to that point. But after that, some could immediately jump inside. It is to take the awareness as if you close your eyes and you know that you are within a room. And just to create that type of point of awareness inside of the heart, then it is easier to talk to one's true self. But the best way to do it is to physically try to feel, even if one must tap on one's chest to feel a sensation, and then wait and see if you could still feel the tapping sensation. Try to see if you can feel your heart beating in your chest without putting your fingers there. It is just different ways of getting quiet, not paying attention to the surroundings around you, but paying attention to the inner surroundings within you.
Yes, very good. And you're saying that the figure 8 is in the heart, right? It's kind of like the left ventricle and the right ventricle, imagining it going in and out, energy in and out through those two.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any message for the light workers today?
There are many messages that we could give. However, we feel that none are important at this time because other messages are coming through other channels which are going to be represented in better ways than what we can. We are more here to just talk about the technologies. We are here to give the energy and the frequencies that are not being streamed through different channels. What we can say, there are certain light workers who have been traveling in astral. We would say for them to protect themselves, to be more aware, to not go in at times where there is high energy frequencies around them that feel distorted. Many light workers have been feeling attacked. Many have been feeling this black sludge or energetical form attached to their fields. This is not in their minds. This is a reality. They need to protect themselves. Thus is these different frequency bases that are being projected through the technologies, which is trying to take over one's vortex and field. We cannot stop that unless one has tried to stop it from themselves because of the free will. So we would only give them this information so that they could be aware of it and call their true selves forward to help with these processes.
And so they could protect themselves by pulling their true selves forward. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. That is why when they go, it is better to try and make a protection, a bubble that comes out from the heart chakra and from the third eye chakra to create those two colors. Try to visualize them making a capsule around one's vessel. This will help them protect you. This will try to help protect the shells as you move around. Thus, one can only do once one has focused hard enough. This is the only advice that we could give. Many can do it in other ways. Some are stronger than others. However, that is the most simple.